Hello everyone, this is DInfinityX, and I am doing a Blender tutorial. This Blender tutorial is for FuseCrafts. I'm going to help her, or try and explain, how to make a bowl in Blender to help her out with her 3D modeling for 3D printing. So first off, we're just going to left-click drag and delete everything, because we don't need any of that. Next, we're going to go up here to Add, Mesh, and a UV Sphere. Now down here, we can change the segments of the UV sphere. I like to do 124 and then 64 to make it look a little bit more like a sphere. And then we can hit S to scale it up. Now this is going to be not correct size. So if we go over here, this says 17 meters. That's actually 17 millimeters. Okay, next we're going to go over to Add, Mesh, and a Cube. We are going to hit S to scale it. We're going to scale it bigger than the sphere. Now, if Move isn't already selected, we want to click this button here to hit Move, and then we're going to move the cube. Now, we're going to go over to the keypad and hit 1 to select this view and move the cube about to the halfway point. That looks good. And then we're going to click on this little wrench, which is the Modifiers tab. Go to Add Modifier. We're going to click the sphere first. Go Add Modifier, Generate, Boolean. I don't think that's the way you say it, but that's fine. And then we're going to hit the cube, or select the cube. We can do this by selecting here or hitting the eyedropper and selecting the cube itself. Then we're going to hit Control A to apply it. We can then move the cube down and create a flat space on the sphere. So we're going to do the exact same thing. Generate a Boolean. This time I'm going to use the eyedropper to select the cube. And same thing, Control A to apply it. With that done, we can hide this cube, and we have a bowl shape. Next, we're going to hit Shift D to duplicate the sphere, right-click, and then we're going to move the sphere up just a little bit, and then we're going to hit S for scaling, and then hit X to scale on the X-axis, and then with the keypad, we're going to put period 9, 5, and then hit Enter, and then we're going to do the same and hit S for scaling again, and this time we're going to do the Y-axis, so we hit Y and do 0.95, and then hit Enter, and we have a rough bowl shape, or two rough bowl shapes. We're going to select the first one. Once again, we're going to generate a Boolean, and then we're going to select the second sphere, and we can turn that off now with this little eyeball icon up here, and we have a bowl. So we're just going to hit Control A and save that shape. Now, we can export this now by going to File, Export, and then STL. We want to make sure Selection Only is selected, and we can type out a name to save it as. So I'm just going to do bowl test, and then we're going to export that STL. And then we're going to go into the slicer. This is Orca Slicer, and I'm going to load the model. And as we can see, this has translated into millimeters. So we're at 16 millimeters. We want to do something like 150. And there we have a bowl. And then if I wanted to, I could slice and send this to the printer, but this is just a average looking bowl. I want to do something a little bit more fun, so we're going to add a shape to give it some depth. So to do that, we're going to go back into Blender, and we're going to add a cube. Then we're going to hit Tab to go into edit mode. I'm going to hit 3 to select faces, and then I'm going to hit S and X to scale on the X-axis, and we just want to scale this to make it look like a triangle. I was a little too close, so we're going to scale to make it look like a triangle. There we go. Then I'm going to scale along the Y-axis till it is longer than the bowl, and I think I'm going to scale on the Z-axis, make it a little bit more pointy, and then we're going to move it down into the bowl itself. I am then going to hit Shift D to duplicate it. I'm going to hit R to rotate it, Z to rotate it along the Z-axis, and then hit 90 on the keypad to rotate it 90 degrees. I'm then going to hold Shift to select both of these, and then I'm going to hit Shift D to duplicate, R to rotate along the Z axis. So I'm going to hit Z, and then I'm going to hit 45. And then I'm going to hit Enter, and we have, I was going to say 8. It is 8, but it threw me off. There's 4 cubes now. So we're going to select the bowl, generate a Boolean, and we're going to hit Shift. Is it Shift D? Yeah, Shift D to duplicate it 4 times. And then we're just going to go through and pick all 4 of the cubes, 3 and 4. And then we can hide all of those to see that we now have shapes alongside the bowl. So next, I'm going to go in and I'm going to hit Shift A. No, not Shift A. Control A to apply all of these. And we have our bowl now. But we can do something else, and we can bring back these cubes. And then we can rotate them. Nope, that's the bowl. I'm going to select all the cubes holding Shift. I'm going to hit Rotate along the X-axis and 180. And then I'm going to rotate along the Z-axis 45. No, 22.5. There we go. And then I'm going to hit Enter to apply it. And then we're going to do the same thing of adding a Boolean and going Shift D to duplicate it 4 times. And we're going to go down the list and select all 4 cubes again. And then we can hit Control A to apply all of them, and then hide all the cubes, and we have a bowl. And same thing as before, we can export STL, make sure it's selection only, hit this to up the incremental value so it saves as a different file, and export. And then back in OrcaSlicer, we can get rid of the original bowl and bring in the new bowl. And once again, we're going to scale it up to 150. And we have a bowl. And we can just give it a quick slice and see that it's going to use 83 grams of filament and take 5 hours to print at this scale. But it looks like we might need supports, so I'm just going to turn on supports. I try to turn on supports. There we go. We got tree supports now. Give it another slice. And we have simple supports in for the bowl. Now, this isn't the same bowl that I just modeled, but it is the one that I designed when I was going to show Fusecrafts how to do this, and then I decided to print it off anyway. But yeah, this is how it would look like. I think the walls on my one that I just did are a little bit thinner, but this is still a pretty decent little bowl. Now, the next thing I'm going to show how to do is use an SVG to add even more design to the model. I'm just going to search up a simple key file, or key SVG. I think this is the one I used. And then I'm going to just download the SVG. Now, back into Blender, unfortunately, since I applied all of those booleans, I cannot use this sphere, but I can add another one and redo the process. So I'm going to add a sphere. We're going to scale it up. And then I can bring back in that cube, and it's already in a good position. So I'm going to generate a Boolean for the original cube. We're going to apply it. I'm going to move the cube up. I am going to have to scale it up a little bit this time. I'm going to find a good spot to cut it again and do the same thing. Generate Boolean, add the cube, Control A to apply, and then we have another bowl. And then same thing, we're going to Shift duplicate. I'm going to raise this up a little bit, hit Scale Y, and I'm going to do 0.98 this time. And I'm going to hit Scale, which is S, and then X, and then do 0.98, hit Enter. And then I'm going to select the original bowl, generate another Boolean, and do the inner sphere. And then apply that, hide the third sphere, and we have a bowl that has a thinner wall. Now next, I'm going to go to File and import the SVG. And then look for my SVG and bring it into the save. Once I have imported the SVG, it is going to be extremely small. So I'm going to take this, I think it's this one, and scale it up till it gets to a decent size. I think that will work, but it is not oriented correctly. So I'm going to hit 7 to get the top-down view, and then I'm going to hit R to rotate. And I'm going to rotate it to where it's roughly aligned up and down with the bowl. Then I can hit R and hit X and type 90 on the keypad to rotate it 90 degrees, and we have a key. Then I'm going to hit Tab to go into edit mode, hit A, and then hit nope. I need to convert this to a mesh by hitting right click, convert to, and then mesh. Then I can hit Tab to go into edit mode, hit A, and then hit extrude. Once we have extruded the key, I can move it this way. But if I were to try and rotate it now, it's going to rotate where this is. We don't want that. So I'm going to set origin by right-clicking, hit set origin, origin to 3D cursor. That way, if I hit Shift duplicate, and then R, X, no, Y, no, Z. It's one of them. 90. It will rotate the key 90 degrees along the Z-axis. I can then hit select both sets of keys by holding down Shift. I can hit Shift D again to duplicate it, R to rotate it. We want to do it along the Z-axis, so the Z key, and we're going to do 45, and then hit Enter. And we can do that one more time by holding Shift and selecting the keys that aren't selected, hitting Shift D, hitting the R button, then Z to rotate along the Z-axis, and then we're going to hit 22.5 on the number pad and hit Enter, and we have a set of keys floating around the bowl. So next, we're going to add a Boolean to the bowl, and because we have 8 sets of keys, we're going to hit Shift D 8 times. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And for this, it might be easier just to use the eyedropper to select the curves because there's a bunch of names. And once we see that it's selected, we can turn it off and then hit the eyedropper to do the next one. And once the computer processes what it's doing, it's going to take a minute because these are a little bit on the complex side. We can turn off that one and just keep going down the list and selecting all of these into here. Okay, and once all of them are have been done, it may take a while. Even for my computer, it was taking a minute. We're going to go and Control A all of these, which again may take a little while as it processes all of the data. In fact, my computer is now saying Blender is not responding because it's going to take quite a bit to solidify all of these into shapes in the bowl. Now, I printed off a few different sizes. This was 100, 150, no, 100, 125, and then 150. But they all came out really nice. Now, this isn't exactly like the one I just showed off in the video because I wanted to get these prepared before I made the video. But yeah, these all came out extremely nice. I also found an SVG of an owl, and I did the same thing with that. Exact same process. You bring in the SVG, you align it how you want it, spin it around a couple times, and then do the mesh boolean to get the bowl to look like this. Now, I know that wasn't the best of tutorials, but hopefully that will help you, especially Fuse Crafts. Since we don't exactly have a whole lot of time to spend and for me to teach you how to do it. Let me know if you need any more clarification, but hopefully this will help.